All right, we're off and running. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate all of the real ones for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up, another loaded show on the docket, how the Philadelphia Eagles are getting a gift from the Denver Broncos going into this Week 5 matchup. And this start for Philadelphia, numbers-wise, has been very uninspiring. And we're going to take a look at those numbers coming up in just a few moments. I do want to begin here, though. And here at Chat Sports, me personally, I'm a competitor. And I love competing. And there are two powerhouse channels that I want to hone in on here to start today's program. Chicago Bears Now and Philadelphia Eagles Now. Now, a lot of you might be saying, Chase, Bears, Eagles, it's not really a rivalry. But here's what I'm talking about here. Bears Now, led by the great host Harrison Graham, hit 100,000 subscribers September 8th of 2024. Here on this channel, we hit that milestone of 100K and got that silver plaque from YouTube January 19th of 2025, so earlier this year. Obviously, several months between when Bears Now hit that number and Eagles Now. But look at how much ground we've been able to make up as far as subscribers gained since then, and I want to overtake Bears Now with the amount of subscribers on this channel. As of this recording, Bears Now, 132,201. We are just behind them, less than 700 away at 131,539. Can we overtake them? I think that we can. I believe in you. Lock us in, hit that subscribe button if you want elite Eagles coverage every single day here on YouTube. So let's shift gears and focus in on this Week 5 matchup here between Denver and Philadelphia. For those of you who are die-hard football fans, who canvass all rosters across the NFL, and from a matchup perspective, you're really going to enjoy this game on Sunday. Now, the Eagles do have the rest advantage and the body clock advantage because the Broncos played at home on Monday Night Football, and they have to travel to Philadelphia for this 1 p.m. Eastern game. And obviously, there's a couple of hours difference between Mountain Time and Eastern Time. Plus, Denver played on Monday. The Eagles played on Sunday. And it's not a long trip from Philadelphia to Tampa. And so there's that advantage. And I think the Eagles are just the better, more seasoned team. And that's why Philadelphia, 3.5-point favorites. The opening line, the Eagles were giving 4.5 points to Denver. And so depending on what sports book you look at, it's a pretty healthy line for the Eagles. The over-under for this game at 43.5 between two of the top defenses in the NFL, and especially in the trenches. This is going to be a really fun and entertaining matchup to watch. And then you think about some of the other matchups that come to mind, right? Like A.J. Brown going up against Patrick Surtain, the Broncos defensive line against the Eagles offensive line, the Broncos rushing attack against this Eagles rushing defense. A lot of good matchups across the board. The Broncos so far, been an up and down start for Sean Payton's team. They haven't beaten a team that I think is really legitimate. Week 1 beat the Titans 20-12. Week 2, down to the wire loss against the Indianapolis Colts, one of the big surprise teams in the league, 29-28 the final there. Then the Broncos lost another close game, 23-20 to the Chargers, and then they come back on Monday and beat the Joe Burrow-less Bengals 28-3. The Eagles so far, I think all of these wins are quality wins, and unfortunately for the Eagles, they haven't put together a game in which they've played their best football on both sides of the ball for all 60 minutes, but you've seen glimpses of what this team can become. And under Nick Sirianni, the Eagles have done a great job of making in-season adjustments and peaking late outside of 2023. But a 24-20 win over the Cowboys. Cowboys pretty impressive on Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers. A 20-17 win on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. Birds beat the Rams to 26 unanswered in Week 3, 33-26. And the Buccaneers are a really good team. I think they're serious contenders in the NFC. And so for the Eagles to build a 31-13 lead over Tampa Bay in those weather conditions, and then to hold on to win 31-25, I chalk that up as an impressive dub. Back to the Broncos and scouting this team. Their defense is fantastic. Their defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, been around the block many times. They're giving up just 16.8 points per game, tied for second in the NFL. Offensively, running it really well with J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. 143.3 rushing yards per game. That's 5th among 32 teams. Bo Nix has been just okay. A little bit of a sophomore slump to begin the 2025 season. Their offensive line, though, last year and this year, one of the best in the league. And this is just a very well-coached ball club. As for scouting the Eagles, the big question that we all have, can the offense play a full 60 minutes? This offensive unit has really lacked rhythm and explosive plays. But on offense, a big reason why they are 4-0, despite not putting up great numbers, and we'll get to some of those numbers coming up later, they have 0 turnovers on offense so far. That's a sustainable way to play football. That's a winning brand of football. On defense, they have given up explosive plays, especially for touchdowns. There have been breakdowns, but they've also been pretty legit. And the Eagles are such a battle-tested club that they thrive in all of these close games. By the numbers, how the Broncos stack up. Offensively, points per game 16th, yards per game 9th, yards per play 10th, third down conversion rate 16th, good in the red zone, number 8 there. On defense, stellar. Number 2 in points per game allowed, 10th in yards per game, 8th in yards per play, 4th on third downs, number 1 in the red zone. So really a top 5, top 10 unit across the board. And then the Eagles, obviously the struggles well documented on offense. They are 7th in points per game, 30th in yards per game, 30th in yards per play, but they're good in a couple of crucial categories here. 8th in third downs and number 1 in red zone touchdown efficiency. They've been inside the red zone 11 times. They've scored 11 touchdowns. And the Broncos, as I said, an elite red zone defense. What's going to give on Sunday? Defensively for Vic Fangio's team, they've been just okay. I think they've looked better than what the numbers indicate here. 15th in points per game, 22nd in yards per game, 18th in yards per play, 14th in third downs, and then 3rd in red zone touchdown efficiency. And so with that, some of my keys to the game here, I think it's really important for Philadelphia to stop that Broncos run game. If you force the Broncos offense to be one-dimensional, I like how this Eagles defense can fare against Bo Nix, who against good teams this year has really struggled. And if he has to throw it too much, especially this year, he's thrown 4 interceptions. And so shut down that ground game, which at times has been a struggle for Philadelphia, and I like the Eagles' chances here. On offense, you have to finally catch a rhythm, and at some point, you have to find an identity. We're a month in, it's still early, but at some point soon, you have to figure out who you are. If there's a weakness for this Broncos defense, it is their linebacking core. And so I want to see the Eagles run shallow crosses. I want to see the Eagles maybe target Dallas Goedert in between the numbers, in between the hashes, utilize Saquon Barkley as a pass catcher, because Alex Singleton, a former Eagle, has gone on to have a pretty solid career since leaving Philadelphia, but right now he's their best linebacker and he's not great in coverage. The Eagles need also to get the ground game going. This will organically open up the pass game, and then how much longer will A.J. Brown not pop off on the sideline? Like at some point, you can see the frustration starting to build up and fester. He's going to go off. If this Eagles pass game continues to struggle, find ways to scheme him open. Now, of course, I started today's show with the talking point, how the Denver Broncos gave the Eagles a gift going into this game. Why is that the case? How have the Broncos given the Eagles a gift going into this Week 5 matchup? Well, a couple of things here. The Eagles do have the rest advantage and the body clock advantage, as I mentioned. But the Broncos up to this point have also struggled against quality teams. They've beaten 2 bad teams. They've lost to 2 playoff-level teams. There's also this. We know Lincoln Financial Field in South Philadelphia, raucous environment. And that place is going to have nearly 70,000 people who are getting lit, making a lot of noise. It makes for an incredible game day atmosphere. And it's truly become a home field advantage for the Eagles. The Eagles have won 13 straight games at the Link. It has been 379 days as of this recording since the Eagles lost at the Link. Whereas the Denver Broncos this year and going back to last year are 1-7 in their last 8 games away from Mile High. Edges with Philadelphia there, and I think that's a big reason why the Eagles are sizable favorites in this ball game. So if you think the Eagles will beat the Denver Broncos, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If not, I want you to comment why. Share your thoughts with me down in the comment section. Still to come, the Eagles are 4-0, but it's been a frustrating, maddening start. And we're going to take a look at the numbers because it's also been an uninspiring start for the Eagles. How so? Continue to hang out here with us. But this Eagles hoodie that we told you about last Sunday during our watch party was on sale. It's discounted even further now. Kelly green, old school Eagles logo across the chest, Nike logo on that left sleeve. How often do you find a sweatshirt and a hoodie like this that is Nike for just $59? So the price has actually gone down from $85 to $59. We sold a couple of these on Sunday during that Eagles-Buccaneers watch party. Hop on this deal. It lasts limited time only, and you have to use our link in order for that deal to apply. It's chatsports.com/KellyHoodie. Chatsports.com/KellyHoodie. Get your hoodies today. So let's get to this. The Eagles are 4-0, but statistically, they are one of the worst 4-0 teams in the history of the NFL. You take out that win against the Cowboys in week 1, the Eagles have been outgained in every game since. Outgained by 78 yards by the Chiefs, 68 by the Rams, and 176 yards by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's take a look at some chat stats here. Since the 1970 NFL-AFL merger, there have been 148 times a team has started 4-0. 2 of them this year, only the Bills and the Eagles. Only one team, the 2012 Arizona Cardinals, who won one game the rest of the year, had a worse yardage differential than the Eagles' mark of minus 327. How about that? Only 13 4-0 teams have had a negative yardage differential. 10 of those teams made the playoffs, which the Eagles will do unless they are completely decimated by injuries. But those teams in the playoffs, only 8 and 10. This is why the Eagles need to get it going, and they need to get it going quickly. And I mentioned just moments ago, the 148 teams. Here is where the Eagles rank among those 148 teams during this time frame that have started 4-0. They are last in yards gained, last in yards per play, last in yards per completion, second to last in yard differential, third to last in yards passing per attempt. They are 144th in sack rate, 143rd in point differential, 143rd in yards per completion allowed, 133rd in points against, 129th in sack rate. We're not done. They rank 127th among those 148 teams in yards per rushing attempt against, 126th in plays run, 126th in halftime point differential, 112th in yards allowed, 97th in yards per attempt allowed, and 83rd in points scored. Now, I do think there are reasons for hope here. And obviously, trends are meant to be broken. But you think about this Eagles team, they really do have a feel of an elite college program where every single week is a huge game. And every single week, the Nick Saban Alabama teams, the Kirby Smart Georgia teams. You think back, way back in the day, the Pete Carroll USC teams, the Mac Brown Texas teams in the early 2000s. They played big games every week, and maybe they didn't play their best every week. They found ways to win. The Eagles are so good at being able to find ways to win. But the reason why I think you should be hopeful about this Eagles team, they have plenty of time. They played deep into the calendar year. They had a shortened offseason. They have a bunch of talent, and they have the coaching to figure it out. Also, you'd be hard-pressed among those 148 teams to find teams who have had a schedule as difficult as the Eagles have had. And it's not like the schedule's going to get easier the rest of the way out. It is still going to be a very hard schedule, but over the next month, it eases up at least a little bit as far as some of the quarterbacks you are going to play before it ramps back up late in the year. But that's why it's so important to start off 4-0, because you earn yourselves and get yourselves a little bit of wiggle room. I have full confidence in this Eagles team, but obviously those numbers to begin the year, a little bit uninspiring, a little bit concerning, and let's remember those numbers as this season progresses. Don't forget to give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I give you so much content every single day here on YouTube. I also give you additional content on my social media pages, so give me a follow over there.